Anyway,
Thank you for ever hit record. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it definitely can roll off the tongue differently. So, but man, we appreciate that you're here. I know in our call, sorry, I've tried to pin you, but if I'm messing that up,
you're
someone please let me
fine.
know. But I know in our prep call we were going over four keys, four cornerstones, and you kind of shared some of your favorites. But man, before we get started, could you just kind of dive in and tell us, a little bit more about yourself, how long you've been here, what attracted you to symmetry, what were you doing beforehand?
Oh man. Yeah. Well, first off, Tom Ellefson, I'm direct to the great, the wonderful Mrs. Paige Durgan, and just super grateful to be so in the Durgan, Felix, Lappin, Miller, Bucket Whalen hierarchy. I always expand on the Millers. It's funny. It's a running joke I have with them. But no, just super grateful to be here. Happy to be on this call. This is really cool. I'm not, the goat. That kind of gets me a little nervous, but we'll get through that. Um, been here for 4.5 years, agency owner for three of that, and it was, this was. I was looking for my next, and I found my last because
Hmm.
I was an unemployed COVID dad in 2020, getting paid 80% of my salary to stay away from the office.
Wow.
I know. And I think I took that pretty personal. And you know, and I had a friend during COVID commit suicide, leave his wife with nothing. And it got me really thinking about how I can help families, what I can do to not have that happen to anybody. And then I found symmetry. And this is a cool story. I don't tell this very often, and maybe David, I've told you, but I'm not sure. But my the kids go back to school during COVID in August, and my wife's like, "So what are you gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know." And I met with my pastor and met at a brewery, which makes sense, right? It's where you meet with your pastor for life-changing events. And if you do have notes, draw two circles that intertwine, like the Olympic rings, you know how they intertwine. And what he said to me was, when you start looking for jobs, or start looking for things, yeah, Venn diagram, yeah, however you want to call it, whatever. I just call it two rings hooked together, but um, he goes, on one side, put family, and on the other side, put work. And when you're applying for all these jobs, where do each one of these land? Does it land more in the family side? Does it land more on the work side? Which one does it benefit the most, right? And that was a Monday. I applied that night, and Tuesday morning, Paige called me and struck my interest in symmetry just from my initial interest. And then, she was new to recruiting, and this is a fantastic story. She handed me off to Bridget, her mentor. That was my next call on Wednesday, and that cemented the flag. Paige, Paige and I put the flag in sand. Bridget put it in cement. So,
Hmm.
and it saved my life. It changed my life, and I'm forever grateful because of it. Simple, simple course of events. And I don't tell that story like that very often, but I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and thanks. I appreciate you sharing that with us. See, that's what the Go call's all about. We get kind of the special backdoor pass.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. So I was going to ask you what attracted you to symmetry, but you kind of unpacked that for us. Now, did you come here? Did you have a sales background or?
No, there you go. That's good. That's a really good question because um, all my sales background for the most part was what I would call incoming sales, retail. I was a golf pro for 12 years. Then I was in cellular wireless for 10 years. And most of that was, running stores, managing people. And then it turned to B2B at the end and became a part owner of the business side of that. And then um, got out of that, went into dental sales, driving door to door across the state of Indiana, which I've got the most utmost respect for anybody that goes door to door and
Mm,
drives to do it because that is a hard thing. And that was way out of my comfort zone. And then COVID hit. So yeah, say it helping people. I had this insatiable urge coming out of COVID just to help people.
mm,
And working at home was a mandatory.
mhm,
So yeah, those are the two things that really helped. And because I had taken my insurance test back in 2018, failed it twice, was going to go work for another company that's named after a state. I'll leave it at that. And it just didn't feel right. I failed twice by three questions total.
mm,
And I didn't have the urge to go try again. So I
mhm,
went into the dental thing. And
mm.
then after I talked to Bridget, I'm like, I'm in. And I said to my wife, I found my thing. I found my new deal. And she goes, "What is it?" And I said, "Insurance." She goes, "Didn't you try that?" And I'm like, "No, this is different." And that was my instant. I did not hesitate. And I said, "This is different."
Yeah. Yeah,
And passed it on the first
absolutely.
try.
Absolutely. Oh, fantastic. Your heart was committed, man. Your heart was in it. That's great. That's great. Did you come to just sell, or did you kind of see the vision of owning and operating your own agency? Did you catch that bug pretty early, or how did you're an agency owner now,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
not an easy feat. So, but did you kind of drive that off the start?
I came here to make a whole bunch of money. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I came here to change my family's life. I'm still in the process of doing that, which is amazing.
Mm,
Uh, so I started in September, and Paige Paige qualified for a trip to Marshall Whalen's house,
mm,
and
mhm.
spent some time with some 130s. And the day she came back, she called me and said, "Hey, do you want to build an agency? Where's your head at?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. I'm struggling trying to figure this out." And she goes, "Here's what we're gonna do." There wasn't a yes or no. It's like, here's what we were going to do. And then we started booking appointments, recruiting appointments for each other on each other's calendar. And we filled up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and parts of Thursday. And that is how we got started in recruiting. So I had a I had a 3 month quiet time, I guess you could say. But it was always in the back of my mind to build this. I wanted to own my own agency. I wanted to do that.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I just didn't know how.
Yeah, yeah, and that's most of us don't, right? Most of us don't have a team building background. Most of us don't have a managerial. Not that we are managers, but we don't have a managerial background. So that's the beauty of this, right? I talk
Yeah.
about it all the time as a franchise within the financial services industry, without the franchise fees, right? Systematic business.
Yeah.
So you just need the work ethic and the integrity, and symmetry literally has everything else here. Um,
Yeah.
so fantastic. Well, again, we talk about the four keys and the four cornerstones. I mean, we that's all we really talk about because that's all there really is, right? I mean, that's the beauty and the simplicity about this business. And one of the um one of the cornerstones that we discussed kind of in our pre-call was association. So Tom, can you kind of tell me why that's such a hot button for you, and maybe share some stories around that?
Oh my goodness. David, how deep can I go on some of these stories, buddy?
Go all the way.
He's giving us
I'm
permission.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, no, it's so funny. In fact, this whole agency from Sean Shannon on down has made an impact in my life. And me being on this call is my way of saying thank you because I know I know for a fact that without a conversation that I had with with Sean, I wouldn't be here. And it was if anybody of you know the Perbulas out in Pennsylvania, they have a golf tournament. Dave, were you
Mhm.
at that too? Yeah, okay. It was a cold, it was a nice day to play golf. I mean, it was nice. It was cloudy, it was overcast. It wasn't like, we're all gonna come back with like, raccoon sunglass sunburns from working inside and, playing outside for one day. But it turned cold and rainy at the end, and it kind of got a little miserable. And there's a whole bunch of people that went out and played some more. And I think while we were getting ready to have dinner, um, Sean pulled me aside and we started talking. And I don't think I moved for 2 hours.
Mm.
And it was cold, it was raining, I was shivering. I had to go to the bathroom. It didn't matter. I wasn't leaving because of the questions that Sean was asking. And if we all know him, and one of his biggest things is whoever asks the best questions, succeeds
Yeah.
faster, right?
Sure.
The quality of your questions determine the quality of your life.
Hmm.
And he was diving deep into me, and I'm sitting there, it's raining and I'm crying and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, okay. It's raining in here." And he was laughing. He goes, you're good. You're good, brother." And I just I just remember how impactful that was. And here's somebody that I didn't really know gave me his cell phone number. He said you use it whenever you need to. And it was so cool. And I wouldn't have done that without the association of going to a cemetery golf tournament, right?
Right.
Fast forward, what, probably 2 years later at AOA Academy, year and a half later at Agency Owner Academy. Um, we're sitting there trying to figure out dinner at the end of this thing, and it's like conference in a small venue with 10 times the energy.
Hmm.
And it's really, really cool when you get all those focused people together. And I'm just like, I hadn't even thought about dinner. And Sean goes, "Why don't you just come with us?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So um got to I got to hang out with Dave, with Dana, with Courtney. And funny Courtney story. We were walking
We love
back.
those. We love
I
those.
know, Dave, I think you know this. We're walking back, and there may or may not have been a couple beverages. We'll leave it at that. But we're walking home, and we're trying to figure out. Neither of us have been in Nashville, so if you've ever been there,
She
there's
said,
ups and downs. There's ups and downs.
"Oh,
There's the whole thing, and I don't know if I had to have taken a wrong turn. And Courtney's a really fast walker. And all of a sudden, she just takes off, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" She goes, "I got to find my way back. We're lost." And I'm like, "Oh no." And we laugh at that all the time because that's something that we anchor our friendship on. It was that walk home. And it's just cool. It's not something that happens at conference. It's something that happens in the in between, right? In the margins of conference. And it was it was fantastic, and she still gives me a hard time about that. And as she watches this, she'll still tell me that I'm the one that got us lost, which is fine. I get it. It probably was true. But every single time we connect, Courtney, Dana, Sean, Dave, we all connect, and it's just us. It's just what we do. And I can't encourage going to anything having to do with other people in this company enough because you never know. You just never know who you're going to talk to. That dinner where I sat across from Dana for an hour and a half was priceless. And I look back at it as a key point in my career just because I had somebody who's done what I did and I wanted to know how she was doing.
Right.
And then Sean came in as well. But it's so cool. I have such admiration for this group. So Did that answer your question, or does that just go off on a whole nother
No,
tangent?
that's fantastic, man. It is. It's about the people, right? Like we're in a people business, but and you're 100% right about Sean. I mean, he um just has a great heart for people and he asks some amazing questions and that's super cool that, he kind of picked you out of the crowd, so to speak, and you guys had that time. And yeah, you were describing golfing. It sounded like you were in Scotland there for a second.
It's what it felt like. And and Dave, I've got to give you credit too, Dave, because at Ignite, on the way back from Ignite to the airport, we shared an Uber, and it
Mm,
was, I mean, 45 minutes of just fantastic conversation because we were stuck in traffic. And but it was inspiring, it was motivating, and yet it was very, very humbled because we were both holding each other accountable going forward. And appreciate you for that, brother.
Dave, man, you're being so self-controlled tonight. You're not even gonna unmute
No,
to give the man
I'm
some
trying to use
props.
the chat. I'm not a fast typer, but I just want
All
to say,
right.
and I'll shut up after this, Tom. Ever since I met you, even on, I think the first time was on a Zoom call. I think you came in, John had you on, and you had me crying. I've never met a person with the biggest heart. You are an amazing human being, and I hope everybody gets to know you because you put me to shame. And I'm trying to be more like you because you have a big heart. And I love it when you speak, and I'm so grateful to be here to listen. So I'm going to stay out of it. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, Dave. Yeah, that's when I was talking to Tom the other day. It was like I just remember him being on the well, one, seeing him get the fired up Impact Player Award, and then immediately followed by the fired up award at a national conference. So, kind of, Tom, can you kind of dive into maybe your heart behind that, or why you feel like the
Sure.
organization recognized you at that level for an award called the Fired Up Award? And I see your fire in the background. That's awesome. Is that neon?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Proper neon. I love it.
It is. It is. Uh, you know, the how to describe that. Man, Dave's gonna hold me to this, but it's I was in this self-growth journey, self-development journey, right? I've got my four cornerstones up here, so I'm reaching up here. Commitment to ongoing self-improvement. That was a year where I was just massively changing. I was
Mm,
massively growing, and it was all in here. I know what my values are. I know what my heart says. I know what my mind thinks. But when I went through that change and development, it just exploded out of me. And it forever changed how I do things, how I see things, how I feel things. Um, you know, it's it's humbling. I mean, my goodness, to just come off the stage from an national impact, where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, somebody recognized that. I'm cool with that. That's awesome. And I hadn't even sat down, Chris, and they were going through because I helped somebody off the stage, and I was trying to get back to the anyway. And I turn around to get to my seat, and I see my picture up there. I'm like, what? I went numb, literally went numb. And they were playing one of my favorite songs of all time, Fuel by Metallica, and I was just like, I didn't even know it was playing until somebody sent me a video. That's what was going on inside. And I remember standing up there with Brandon, and he goes, "Man, you got some big shoes to fill. Better get going." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Okay, party's over. Party's over, right? And then, there's a learning curve with that. One of the things, one of the final parts of that growth was accepting praise,
mm,
Chris. And
hmm
most people, it's a quiet, I don't know if I don't want to say embarrassment, but it's like, okay, all right. But when everybody's that was a hard piece of that was accepting the praise for something, that was subjective and
Mm.
that people recognized you for that growth. And I'll never forget it. So
What a gift. After your investment into all that personal growth and development. But I can relate to you with what you're saying as far as um, having to absorb that and try to accept that. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, as you know, we're kind of coming to the back half here. We got a hard stop at 7:30. But Tom, what else? What would you like to share with this team? We know you have a big heart. We
sure.
know you got a heart for everybody here. But what's kind of on your heart? What would you like to share
Awesome. I
about
got
about this wonderful business?
I love this. This actually came from my journal this morning. There's this was kind of 5 steps of how to listen and reflect, right?
Mm,
And I flipped it. I flipped the script on this to 5 steps for success with symmetry, with dialing, with appointments, with recruiting, right? And if you're writing this down, it's fantastic. Learn. Well, number one is learn. Okay. Number one is learn. Learn as much as you can about what you're getting into, whether that's your lead types, whether it's the scripts, whether it's, how to do warm market, cold market. Learn as much as you can, right? But don't overlearn. Put the activity in, right? Because paralysis by analysis, we can get stuck trying to learn too much. So learn where you want to go and make sure it's aligned with your purpose. And I'll talk about that in a second, but then try it. Number two is try it and experiment, right? You got to try it, you got to experiment. If it's working, is it going to work like day one, day two, day three? Maybe not, but keep trying it, keep doing it, being consistent, right? The third one is perform, where you keep now you're at the point of mastery, right? Where now you're performing what it is, and you're not, it's like the unconscious competence, right? Where it's you hear that song in the rate. I was driving home. You hear that 80s song in the car radio, and you haven't sung that song in forever, and you all of a sudden you pick up the words like it was just the back of your hand. It's like that. And then the fourth one, highlight this one because this is the one where people get stuck. You're gonna struggle.
mm,
Accept the struggle. Work through the struggle. Work. This is where you reach out. This is where you connect with your upline. This is where you find out who's doing it better and go figure out exactly what they're doing because you recognize the struggle. Be real with yourself. If you're struggling, be real. This is part of anything.
mhm,
And then the fifth one is that's when you thrive. That's
mm,
the thriving in what you're doing, right? And you know, and just keep asking yourself the question, how can I do it better? Because when you can do it better and you reflect on that and you really are honest with yourself, it becomes repeatable. Does that does that make sense? And what I want to touch on with purpose and passion is this. Passion is what brings you joy.
mm.
It brings you to life. Yeah, I've got a passion for this business, David. I know you got a passion for this business. I've talked to you about it. And purpose is when you use your passion in the service of others. So figure out what your purpose is. I think Matt went through that very well on the national call, or they were in the AO call. They were talking about purpose and intentionality and doing that. But that's that's when your passion and your purpose are all in line. That's when this place can explode because you think about this, right? Think about this. Go back to that struggle. You're going to have pockets of pain, right? In life, there's going to be little bits of pain. Your inner pain will always be there, but it's hidden underneath your thoughts and your emotions. And when your heart Here I go, Dave. When your heart is in turmoil, the world's not meeting your expectations. Your actions are directly linked to the avoidance of pain, and you're not going to go
Mm,
through that. That's why that struggle phase is so hard, right? Because it keeps popping up. But when you get to that thrive, you become free, completely free. We love having fun and getting stuff done here. And
yeah.
just when you fall in love with the process, not the outcome, watch what happens. Because when you open your heart full throttle, right? All gas, no brakes, right, Dave? Keep it open, lock it open. That's your controllable. You're in charge of that. That's your power with. And just it'll help you eliminate arguing with yourself. And when you illuminate that flame right here,
Mhm.
so bright every day, you just might be the one light that somebody sees in the darkness of their day, and they needed you desperately. You didn't know it, but they did. It's
Mm,
just, it really boils down to how you show up for you first every day. That's going to allow you to show up and lift others up each and every day. That, if you want a secret sauce to symmetry, it's right there.
mm, That's fantastic. I think this is resonating with a lot of people on the line. Tom, I know you touched on it, but that's step number 4, where you said you're going to struggle. Um, we're not going to wallow in it, but man, actually, we're not going to wallow in it at all, but give us some very distinct things in like symmetry language of what we can do or should do as it relates to this business when we are struggling.
Be honest with yourself, reach out, and really truly find a podcast, find a book, find a call, find something that said, "Oh, okay, I was going through that. Now I'm going to go find this because that reversed that action." And there's no, hey, I'm telling you, at least 2 times I can remember, maybe a third time. Um, I was downstairs, curled up next to my fridge, in tears, wondering if I can do this.
Mm,
And somebody poured belief into me.
hmm
And when 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 you when you accept that somebody cares more about you than you do at that moment, that's when this business is special, because it's not a business. It's friends. It's peers. It's life.
hmm
This We're in life insurance, but we're also in life development. And when somebody cares enough to pour into you, cares enough to listen, cares enough to say, put their arm around you, even if it's virtual or over the phone, and said, I've been there. You can do this. You can do hard things.
hmm
That's that's everything to
hmm
me.
hmm Man, thank you for being vulnerable there and transparent. We love that. We love that. Sean says a lot. I know it's kind of, we kick it around in the Shannon Master a lot, but we talk about motion creates emotion.
Yep.
So in that instance, if you could take us back to, and you said you're near your refrigerator, kind of wondering if you could even do this. What was the action that you took to get
Wow.
from that um, position to kind of get back up again and keep moving on? Was
The
there any
action was,
specific?
yeah, there was a simple action step. I listened. I became humble. I listened. I really truly embraced that this is bigger than me. It's not me. I put my ego aside. Um, and you know, funny quick story about that. I was actually calling another agent to help her get out of a dark, deep place, and it turned around on me, and it was the most shocking phone call I've ever been on because, and she's no longer here, but it flipped the script on me and I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay. But but when you start to listen, when you start to understand that you're not alone, you're you're with everybody. And I say this all the time. The one thing that separates our culture at Symmetry is this. When you work for somebody, they always want something from you. They want extra time, fill a shift, do whatever. But in Symmetry, all 3,000 agents only want one thing from you, and that's your best you each and every day.
True.
And they want everything for you. And
Mm.
that's huge. And when you really truly understand that, whether that's through stress, whether that's through a hardship, whether that's through struggle, when you come to terms with that everybody wants something for you, man, this place gets special.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is. It sure does. It's so good. That's so good. My producer Joel told us we don't have a hard stop at 7:30. So do you have a few more minutes, Tom?
Sure. Oh, I got
Okay.
all the time in the world.
Okay. Fantastic.
Don't shake your
Fantastic.
head, David. Come on now.
Um,
Yeah, of course.
no, that's great, man. This is great. Who on your team are you excited about?
Oh
you
man,
on your
we've
team that you're
got
excited about?
this is cool. We've got I just talked about it on the leads call on Monday, and if you haven't been on that call, you should learn about leads. Just shameless plug. But we had an agent who her name's Kristen, and she wanted to do the lighthouse leads, right? And she's like, "Hey, I want to do this. What do you think I should do?" And I said, "Well, you shouldn't try to do them, first off.
Strong
Be
language,
committed,
better than weak
right?
language.
You remember, I heard this morning. I love it. For breakfast, right? Maybe it was on the national call. I think it was on the national call. The difference between the chicken and the pig in breakfast. The chickens, the chickens involved, the pig is committed,
Yes.
right? And but anyway, um, I said, jump into the trainings, learn about them, understand it. The leads are great. Understand the cadence because if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're gonna struggle because I did. I've been in that since day one, and you'll struggle if you don't get it. And she did. She issued 7,500 last month, fired her boss, right? And is now doing this full time just from switching a lead source and diving in and learning and growing from that. And
Mm.
then I've got another agent, Jordan. She hit Slingshot this month, all because um, she really truly networked her way through this, and she helped a whole bunch of friends and family because she was lacking a little bit in the leads budget department. So now she hit Slingshot 85% in 1 month and now has funded her business going forward and is now on Lighthouse leads. I've just saw that come through, and it's so cool because it just goes to show. Kristen had been here for 6 months, was at national conference, was kind of dipping the toe in a little, trying to figure it
Mhm.
out. And now with this, she's like, "Oh my God, okay, we're good. We're on. We're going." So those are two I'm really, really, really excited about, for sure.
Fantastic. Nice, nice, nice. Does anybody have any questions? Well, I haven't really been monitoring the chat too much. So if someone put a question in the chat and it didn't get answered, um, either throw it in again or feel free to unmute. Actually, we might not be able to unmute, but raise your hand and virtually or um,
Seriously, this is
in real
awesome.
life. In real
Yeah,
life,
bring
yeah,
it, bring it. It's good.
we got an intimate setting, a little fireside chat here. So don't be shy.
I'll kill some dead space here.
Sure.
You know, David, what are what are a couple things that maybe you and I have talked about that we've implemented together as accountability And I know you know one of them.
Well, I know we did the 75 hard. I know that was
Exactly. Now that wasn't work, right? I mean,
no.
not
I'll elab
symmetry.
I'll elaborate on what you said about the one thing I can tell you all about being at these events. Every time that I've been to an event, I mean, I became an AO because I sat across or next to Brian Delaney in, I think it was Ireland. And I just sat there next to him and he gave me a couple words of wisdom and I was an AO 3 months later and I was in a rut. So don't underestimate the power of being around successful people. We have the ability to be around a lot of successful people here, millionaires, and you get to hang around and see what think what learn how to think with how they think, because that's usually the problem why we're not successful, because we don't think the right way. And I spent 50 years thinking the wrong way, so it's taken me some time. But I remember, and I'll be quiet after this, but I remember Sean in the office, Chris, we were all there, but he was asking me about the Forrester trip and then Am's trip. And in my mind, it was either or. I was like, well, I'd like to win this. I could probably do that. And Sean looked at me and said, why not both? And The Secrets of Millionaire Mind, all these books talk about that's how successful people think. It's not either or, it's why not both? That little thing can just change the way I think. So if you all relate to that, I hope that
So
you
good.
think.
That is so good, David.
That's so good. And you know, I love this quote from C.S. Lewis, just coming out of Easter, and I'll change this into symmetry for you. He says life without God is not immunity from difficulties, but peace within difficulties. Change God, just the word to your upline, to community, to symmetry. Life without symmetry is not immunity from difficulty, but peace from within the difficulties, right? And I'm anyway, I'm not trying to compare the two, but it really kind of it really made sense to me. So, just something to think about.
Mm.
Somebody said I should be a pastor. That's crazy. Who
I
said
did see
that?
that earlier. Yeah.
Who said that? That's fun. Oh, Susan did. Thanks. Um,
Or at least a Trappist monk. He said you were going to go to the brewery.
I know. I know. It's all good.
Uh,
But, I'll just say this. Um, this business can be whatever you want it to be.
mhm.
You can make it whatever you want to make it. It where association really kicks in, where it really makes sense with symmetry. And I'm going to refer to my friend Courtney on this one because um, Courtney and I, we always connect. Sean and I always connect at conference, and it's meaningful, it's impactful, and then it allows that door to open to communicate throughout the year. And I talk to Courtney all the time, probably wear her out, and it's something that I never take for granted because she has no, she gets nothing from my business going boom, and I get nothing from hers doing that too. But it's knowing you have someone outside of your group, and we never call and whine and complain, but we also talk about business that's outside of each of our groups, and I think that's healthy,
Mhm.
and I think it's needed, and I think um it it's probably one of the most underrated you know I don't know what you want to call it, elixirs of symmetry is having those people that you can just bounce an idea off, or you know you can complain a little, but it's never longer than 2 minutes. But it's, you know what I mean? Oh, there you go, Emily. That's awesome. I'll see you there. Hey, Emily, when you see me, you come give me a hug. I'll be in pink. You come see me. Yep. That's a gift. Yeah, you too, Joel. Dave, yep, I know it. This is
All
so
right.
awesome.
We're gonna be standing in line now.
I've
Now,
got I got something to add here. I want everybody to hear what first of all, I want to applaud everybody for being on this call because what you're doing right now is connecting. And none of this call had to do with how to make a sale or how to make a dial or how to, what you're hearing here is the true vein of what keeps you here. Because this is not easy, right? We always say this is, not easy, but simple. But what carries you through the struggle is what the connections are. So kudos for everybody that took their time tonight to be on this call to listen to Tom and Chris. But I think you guys have to take this serious about connecting with people in this business that are where you want to be and just follow them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think my question to you, Tom, would be, okay, your first conversation with your upline that brought you here, something caught you, right? You found something like we've heard John Paul Vetter say, I found my looking for my last and found my next. But also what I remember saying to someone, I was actually with my wife and I said, I found my home. Um, you've got to get to that place and the rest of this will happen for you. And all those little nuances of how to do this business, that just comes with activity. The more you do it, the better you get. Don't worry about knowing how to do everything. Just go out there and do it. You only get better by doing, seriously, because when you read everything and learn it all on paper and then you get in front of a client, everything goes to hell because your nerves are shot and then you don't do it right. So, Tom, where would you say that connection really solidified with you? I mean, when it
Well,
first started, yeah, if you could answer that.
no, it's perfect. It was it was knowing that working I was working for myself but not by myself. I didn't understand. I didn't understand at all the four keys, four cornerstones when Paige called me that day. I didn't know it. But what I did know is that was the right person at the right time for me. And then it became and then Bridget just solidified it. And then it became the right people at the right time. And then I got to see how big the group was and how big Symmetry was. And now that became home. That became a place where I knew I could be myself. I could grow myself. I didn't understand what self-development meant. I didn't understand what culture meant. I mean, my God, David, I was a golf pro. The only book I read was Golf Illustrated, and that had a whole bunch of pictures. So, now I got a library in here. It's insane. But that's what's kept me is becoming the best father, the best husband, the best agent, the best friend, the best mentor possible. That's what's kept me here. Um, and it will always keep me here. There's no doubt about that. But I think that answered your question, maybe. Did we do good?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Chris,
that's what it, go ahead.
no, I just sent Chris a text about the biggest thing that we have here is
yeah,
conference.
yeah. Land us, Dave. That's totally good. Totally good.
Okay.
Pivot point.
I mean, how I met most of these people that you guys see on these GO calls is through conference and events and showing up and just show up, And so if you're seriously here, and most of you are here tonight, and like I said, that means something to all of us. So get to conference. It's 90 days away. Get with your upline. Let's hit the done button this week. Figure out the rest later. Just get it done because I promise you, conference will change your career here. It'll elevate you and accelerate you 6 months in knowledge. This conference isn't about just rah-rah. It's hardly any of that. It's mostly impact.
Mm.
When I first went to conference unlicensed, not even in this business, I went with my wife as a road trip, you know, and met a bunch of my friends here. And I tell you, it changed the way I look at life. It changed the way I see what's available. We've all been walking around with this lid in our lives of this is all we can be. And then all of a sudden they pull the veil down and you go, if that person can do it, or that, and you see regular people doing extraordinary things, and you just come home with a whole different outlook on life, and you have this hope. The word hope is what I really felt for me. So let's all stop thinking about going and let's just commit, because if you commit, the rest will show up. So get to conference. The tickets are not that expensive. Your AO or upline has the code. Go do it now. And I'm going to be preaching that for the rest of every day here until somebody, makes that decision, because that's where your life will change.
Any event, Dave, and conference for sure. Conference for sure will, because it's changed my life forever. It's changed the course of my career immensely. And yeah, I just can't wait to see all of you there. It's gonna be, and Chris, we are definitely gonna hang out because
Absolutely, absolutely.
that will be special.
It will. It'll be a blast. It'll be a blast. Can't wait. I cannot wait. So, Tom, man, thank you so much for being you, for being here. And I know part of being you is sharing from the heart, and it's very obvious that you have a massive heart for people. And so, if everybody can come off of mute, give Tom some good love in the chat, give him some thank yous coming off mute, and anything we can do to help you or your organization, Tom. I know you. Nope, I got
There we
you.
go.
I said anything we can do to help you or your organization. Don't be a stranger. We're here to help out.
You already have, believe me.
Fantastic.
Believe me, you already have.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Tom.
welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Tom.
you,
Thank you all.
Tom.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you,
Much
Tom.
love.
Thank you. This was great. Thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's so awesome. It's my favorite part of the call right there. That's so cool.
Great
All
stuff.
right.
Well, have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Chris. See y'all. See you soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Tom.
Bye, guys.
9 a.m. again tomorrow. Impact call. Shannon Master impact call. 9 a.m.
Oh
tomorrow.
my
Same
goodness.
Zoom line. Same Zoom line. So
See you all.
see you, Tom. Appreciate you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you.